Hello all, welcome to STEM. I'm Priyanka. Today we'll be solving the UPSC EPFO paper 2023. Without further delay, let's quickly get back into solving the questions. We'll just leave out the English and the aptitude part and we'll focus on the major subjects. So starting from question 21. So yes, part B. Which one of the following was not provided in the Regulating Act of 1773? I'm sure that you might have all read about Regulating Act of 1773. So let's read the options. It made the presidency of Bengal supreme over those of Bombay and Madras in matters relating to war and peace. The tenure of the Governor General and his councillors was fixed as 5 years. The Supreme Court of Justice was established at Calcutta. The Governor General in Council was authorized to appoint successors to Bombay and Madras Presidency. So, with respect to the Regulating Act of 1773, it brought significant legislative measures that we all know, and it also introduced several provisions to streamline the administration of East India Company. And not to forget, it also made the presidency of Bengal supreme over the other presidencies, like that of Bombay and Madras. So, with respect to war, peace, and everything, so the presidency of Bengal was supreme. With respect to the statements that I said, I think you would have made out the answer. Yes, option D is your right answer. The Governor General in Council was authorized to appoint successors to Bombay and Madras Presidency. It was not provided by the Regulating Act of 1773. So let's move on to the next question. Question number 22. Which one of the following statements about the Government of India Act of 1935 is not correct? Government of India Act of 1935. I'm sure it's a quite easy question because the Government of India Act was passed by the Parliament of UK. We all know that. This marked a significant step in the constitution evolution of India. So here, if you could read the answers, it was an outcome of the roundtable conferences. Yes, it could be true. It provided for the establishment of an all India federation. Yes, absolutely. It retained the authority of the Secretary of State over the Government of India. We'll again get back to this. It introduced the provision of provincial autonomy. Yes. So the odd one out is option C, because the Act did not retain the authority of the Secretary of State over the Government of India. Instead, what it did, it sought to reduce the powers of the Secretary of State for India and provided for the establishment of a federal structure in India. So let's move on to the next. So match list 1 with list 2. So here is a list of Congress session. You will have to match it with the president. So this is more of a like memory based question. So the Lahore session 1909 was presided by Madan Mohan Malviya. It is on the right side. So also the Madras session was presided by Bhupendranath Bose. So with respect to A and D, so 1 and 4, we still have two options left. So the Calcutta session was presided by Bishan Narayan Dar in 1911. So the correct option would be option A. So let's move on to the next question. Who among the following started the Bonzala Military School at Nashik? Is it B.D. Savarkar, M.R. Jayakar, N.C. Kelkar, or B.S. Munje? Sometimes we might tend to, get stuck between the three options because these all sound similar, right? Savarkar, Jayakar, Kelkar. So sometimes they might, people those who have no clue about this, they tend to move with the options. So they might think the answer would be from A to C and they would tend to mark anything between A or B or C. But the answer is B.S. Munje. Sometimes we'll have to, be very clear about the answer. So B.S. Munje was the one who founded the Bonzala Military School. His full name was Dr. Balakrishna Shivaramji Munje. So that was his full name. He established the school in 1937. It was driven by very strong belief in the importance of Indianization of the armed forces during the British rule. So yes, and then he established the school. So let's move on to the next question. 25th question. Arrange the following events associated with Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya in the chronological order. So here we all know that this is also quite memory based question. So we know that he founded the Hindu boarding house at Allahabad in 1903. So this would be the first one. He founded this in 1903, and then he founded the Banaras Hindu University in 1916. So with respect to this, if we could eliminate the options, so it would be 4312. Option B would be the right answer. And also, if I'm not wrong, the Congress Nationalist Party was founded by Madan Mohan Malaviya and Madhav Srihari Ane in 1934. I'm sorry, here 1934. And founding of the English newspaper, The Leader, happened during 1909. So these are the years. Again, if the UPSC EPFO exam, they have asked about Pandit Madan Mohan Malaviya, so there might be chances that they might ask some other important leaders or social reformers in this year. So be focused on that and try to concentrate on the leaders also. So 26. An employee shall be converted under the provisions of Payment Wages Act 1936 should the employee be drawing a maximum monthly wage of it's 24,000. 24,000 is the answer. So let's move on to the next 27. A minimum rate of remuneration which shall be applied to an employee working on piece work for the purpose of securing to such employees a minimum rate of wages on time basis under the Minimum Wages Act 1945 is a pretty easy question. It's a guaranteed time rate, option B. So the next question, 28. Match list 1 with list 2. Select the correct answer using the code given below the list. So recovery officer, the provision and the legislation are given. Recovery officer, compulsory insurance, scheduled employment, subsistence allowance. So for the recovery officer, it would be the Employees Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provisions Act 1952. For the compulsory insurance, it is the Payment of Gratuity 1972. Scheduled employment, it is the Minimum Wages Act. And subsistence allowance is the Industrial Employment Orders Act 1946. So the answer is option A. So 29. An adult worker who has joined work on 1st January 2022 in a factory and worked for 220 days during the year has been laid out for 25 days as per standing orders during the year. How many days of leave with wages shall he be entitled to during the calendar year 2023? So we need a very small mathematical calculation for this. So the number of days he worked is 220 minus 25. So it's going to be 195. So the number of days he can take leave is 1 by 20th of the works. So it's 1 by 20 into 195. So it's going to be roughly 9.75, which is 10. Okay. Option B will be answer. So let's move on to the next question. As per the provisions of the Industrial Employment Act 1946, standing orders shall come into operation after the expiry of how many days from the date on which the copies of the order of the appellate authority are sent to the employer. So even this is a very easy question. The answer is 7 days. So within 7 days from the date on which the copies of the order of the appellate authority are sent to the employer and to the trade unions. So let's move on to the next question, 31. How many members are to be nominated by the central government to the National Social Security Board as per the provisions of the Unorganized Workers Social Security Act 2008? So the answer would be 34. See, they are concentrating more on the numbers, fact oriented. So probably we'll have to, stick to those facts too. We'll have to memorize the numbers. So please be focused on that. So let's move on to the next question, 32. Which one of the following is not a social security scheme under the Unorganized Workers Social Security Act? National Family Benefit Scheme, Janshri Bima Yojana, Employees Pension Scheme, Rashtriya Swasthya Bima. See here, it's pretty shade that this is about the employee pension scheme. This doesn't come under the social security scheme. So the answer would be option C. So let's move on to the next, 33. Which one of the following authorities constituted by the central government shall be the appellate authority under the Employees Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provisions Act 1952? So it is the Employees Provident Fund's Appellate Tribunal. It's pretty straightforward. If you can see if you could relate the Employees Provident Fund with the options below, it is right. Sometimes, we might tend to overthink that, the answer will not be so straight like this, and we will tend to mark the wrong answer, but the right answer would be Employees Provident Fund Appellate Tribunal. So 34. As per the provisions of the Maternity Benefit Act 1961, the maximum period for which a female employee shall be entitled to leave with wages is a maternity benefit for giving to the third child. So for the third child, it was earlier 12 weeks, according to 1961. But later, due to the recent 2017 Maternity Benefit Amendment Bill, it was increased to 26 weeks, which is like a 12-week earlier, so it was increased. So try to relate like that and study. So next question, which one of the following statements under Employees Provident Fund Miscellaneous Provisions Act is not correct? Which is not correct? So here, it makes provision for the pension scheme including family pension. Yes, it is correct. It makes provision for employees deposit-linked insurance scheme. This is also right. The provisions of the Act shall not be applicable to cooperative societies employing 50 or more persons working without the aid of power. No, shall be applicable. The contribution by the employer to the fund shall be on the basis of basic wage, diurnal allowance, and retaining allowance. It's also right. The answer is option C, 35C. Because the Employees Provident Fund, it provides for the institution of compulsory provident fund and deposit linked insurance fund, and also for the benefit of employees in factories and other establishments. So yes, we'll move on to the next. Next is all quant. So yeah, we'll move to 41. 41. The overhauling expenses of 25,000 for the engine of a motor car to get better fuel efficiency is, so here it is capital expenditure. Generally, capital expenditures are the funds used to acquire or upgrade a company's fixed assets, such as expenditure towards a property or a plant or an equipment. So it is done like that, okay? So the next question, which one of the following is not correct? Depreciation is a non-cash expense. It is right. Depreciation is the process of valuation of assets. No, it is the allocation of cost. It is a process of allocation of cost. So this is a wrong statement. The main cost of depreciation is wear and tear cost per usage. This everybody would know. The depreciation must be charged so as to ascertain true profit or loss of the business. Yes, this is also true. The answer is 42, option B. 43. A credit purchase of machinery recorded in a purchase book instead of journal book is a errors of principle, because it should be measured in a purchase book. So because all credit purchase of goods are recorded in the purchase journal, whereas purchases are recorded in the cash book. So other purchases like office equipment, furniture, all that are recorded in the journal proper if purchased on credit, or in the cash book if it is purchased on cash. So we'll have to remember that. So the next question, the practice of appending notes regarding contingent liability in accounting statements is pursuant to convention of consistency, money measurement concept, convention of conservatism, convention of full disclosure. Here if we could see, sometimes people tend to mark B because they might see convention of consistency, convention of, see all or A, C and D, they kind of look alike. But then if you read about the accounting principles in general, they would know the answer would be option D, because the practice of appending notes regarding contingent liability in accounting statements is pursuant to convention of full disclosure, because the principle of full disclosure requires all material or other relevant facts, okay, everything concerning the financial performance of a company or an enterprise, it should be fully disclosed. So that would be the answer. So let's move on to the next question, 45. Outstanding rate may be classified as very easy. This is a representative personal account because it is outstanding expenses to a person. So here, following HTML tag to insert comments. So here the option is 46D. So this is the answer. You can refer to the other source codes also. 47. Which among the following is used to create email hyperlink to a web page? It is mail to. Option B is the answer. In the context of a buffer in a memory area, or spool refers to. So spooling, generally it refers to simultaneous peripheral operation online. It is an acronym where spooling refers to putting jobs in a buffer, a special area in a memory or a disk where a device can access them when it is ready. It is mainly used because different devices can access data at different rates. So the next question, which one of the following is not a commutative law? We know that commutative law is applicable to addition and multiplication. See here, it's like multiplication, addition, multiplication. The option would be option C. Which OSI layer is responsible for managing the communication between computers in network? See, for OSI layer, OSI means Open System Interconnection Model. Okay, it is a conceptual model. It was created by the International Organization for Standardization. It enables communication systems to communicate using standard protocols. So, with respect to the options, network layer is responsible for managing the communication between computers in network. So, we'll go to the next question. So, it's science. This is the easier one. Consider the following statements regarding DNA. DNA refers to deoxyribonucleic. Yeah, everybody knows it's true. It is located in the ribosomes. No. RNA. It is composed of ribonucleic acid. No. It can make a copy of itself. Yes, right. 1 and 4. So the option is A. Velum in a spongy tissue. It is found in epiphytic roots. We know that it is also responsible for absorbing moisture and nutrients from the atmosphere. It's all school-based, school textbook-based question. 53. Which of this is not correct? Hydrogen ions cannot exist alone. Yes. All compounds containing hydrogen are acidic. No, because we have other compounds also that can be basic, neutral also. Water, for example, easier one. Separation of hydrogen ions from hydrochloric molecules cannot occur in the absence of water. Right? This is also right. So the option is B. That is not correct. Which one of the following elements has highest boiling points? So compared to lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, lithium has higher boiling points, and also it has a stronger metallic bond in compared to the others. So next question. An ice cube with 10 centimeter is divided into 8 smaller cubes, each with same size. Which one of the following statement is correct in this context? So this is a very easy, because if you could see the answers, they are asking about total volume and the surface volume. Anyways, it is the same cube. The total volume will remain the same, and the total surface area will increase, because it's like we have 8 smaller cubes, right? So the sides and the faces would be more, approximately, I think 48 faces would be there. So yeah. 56. Which one of the following statements regarding the attendance of retired judges at sittings Supreme Court of India is correct? Please refer to this question and try to read everything, because these are just wordplay. There's no something very, difficult about it. Option A, Article 128 permits the attendance of retired judges at the sittings. No, this is not right, because Article 128 of the Constitution says permits the Chief Justice of India to request any person who has held the office of a judge of the Supreme Court or of High Court to sit and act as a judge of the Supreme Court. So that is. So if we could eliminate option 1, we can eliminate 1 and okay. So it's either option C 2 and 4 or option D. So it's option C, because 2 is right and also 4 is right. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 57. The board of a cooperative society can be superseded or kept under suspension if there is negligence in the performance of duties, there is any act prejudicial to the interest of the cooperative society or its members, the body has failed to conduct elections in accordance with the provisions of the State Act, there is no government shareholdings or loan or financial assistance or any guarantee by the government. Every time we get statement-based questions that has four options or four or five statements, always check the last statement. So here, if you could see the last statement, there is, and also it has a negative connotation. Whenever there are extreme statements or when it has a negative, answers like no, without, so we'll have to give extra attention to that because it is easy for the question setter to just play with the words, right? So option 4 is actually wrong because there is government shareholdings. So if the answer would be option 1, 2 and 3. For 57 it is 1, 2 and 3. So we'll move on to the next question. Which of the following statements regarding Member of Parliament Local Area Development Scheme are right? The nodal ministry for the scheme is the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. The funds released under the scheme are non-lapsable. The role of Member of Parliament is limited to recommending works. The scheme is confined to the state from which the Member of Parliament is elected, Lok Sabha. However, this is absolutely wrong. So it is 1, 2 and 3. Just like that. Again, read the option 4. So moving on to the next question, 59. The Global Multidimensional Poverty Index developed by the UNDP is a measure of, this is a very easy question. It's based on nutrition, cooking, fuel is also right, assets is also right, school attendance is also right. So it's option A, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Move on to the next question. Which one of the following was not recommended by the Dinesh Goswami committee? So, before reading the options regarding to Dinesh Goswami committee, what can you remember? The committee made some recommendations on electoral forums, and also they proposed to the political parties in the kind of governmental money, and also suggested that a candidate should not be permitted to contest in more than two constituencies. So all that was given. We have a very vague memory of the Dinesh Goswami committee. So let's read again. The appointment of the Chief Election Commissioner should be made by the President of India in consultation with the Chief Justice of India and the Leader of Opposition. No, it's not right. It was recommended. So leaving out that option, the members of the Election Commission should be appointed by the President on the advice of a committee consisting of the Prime Minister and the Leader of Opposition. This was not recommended. Option B would be the answer. Moving on to the next, 61. Who among the following was a companion of fighter Rani Chennamma of Kittur and continued the fight against the British after Rani's capture by the British in 1824? It was Rayanna. Rayanna's full name is Sangoli Rayanna. She was her deputy, but she was ultimately captured and imprisoned at Bailhongal Fort. Okay. So next question. The first Indian Factories Act passed primarily dealt with, it was dealing with the problem of child labor. So yes, so it laid down that children below 7 could not work in factories, while children between 7 to 12 would not work more than 9 hours. But anyway, even that was cruelty. Yeah. So moving on to the next, where was Azad Hind Fauj formed? INA. It was found in Singapore because Azad Hind, it was also called as the Provisional Government of Free India. It was supported by the Japanese supported provincial government in India. It was established in Japanese occupied Singapore during World War II. So moving on to the next, in 1927, Lord Birkenhead, Secretary of State for India, appointed a committee of 3 members to inquire into the relationship between the Indian states and the British government and to make suggestions for more satisfactory adjustment of the existing economic relations between Indian states and British India. Who among the following was not a member? We know that Harcourt Butler was one of the prime person behind it. So, and also there were 2 other members, William Sale Holsworth, and Sidney Peel. So the odd one out is A.J. Wilson. Find out who is A.J. Wilson, when you are reading. Yeah. 65. Which of the following statements are correct? Under the Cornwallis system, the district was divided into thanas or police jurisdictions of 20 to 30 miles square. Yes, that was right. And then each of them was placed under an officer of government under the denomination of Daroga. Yes, the Daroga system was introduced in Madras. See, if it is a year, give extra attention. No, it was introduced in 1802. The Daroga was nominated by the district magistrate. Yes, 1, 2, and 4, it would be option D. So the next question. Model standing orders formed under the Industrial Employment Act 1946 shall not apply to an established in respect of which of the appropriate government in the state of. So for 66, the answer would be Gujarat. And yes, next question. An outworker is expressively excluded from the definition of workman under which one of the following legislations? It is, if we could see, we would be confused between option C and option D, either contract laborer or interstate migrant workman. So he's an outworker, definition of workman. So it's obviously option C, because a workman means any person employed in connection with the work of any establishment to do skilled or unskilled work or manual or anything, whether the terms of employment. Yeah, so we'll move to the next. 68. Which one of the following nature of work shall not, again, give extra attention to this word, shall not be taken into account while the appropriate government considers prohibiting employment of contract labor in an establishment under the contract labor. We already had an option, answer for contract labor. So that is why you'll have to read the question paper once or twice, because for at least one or two questions, the answers would be in the question paper itself if we could give extra attention to it. Yeah. So the process, the operation of other work is incidental to or necessary for the industry. The work is of permanent nature. The work is done ordinarily through regular workmen. The work is of intermittent nature. See here, there are two contradictory statements. The answer would be either one of this. So for 68, the answer would be option D. For 69, which of the following statements relating to the Grievance and Redressal Committee under the Industrial Disputes Act 1947 is not correct? For 69, it is option C. The chairperson of the committee shall not be nominated by the appropriate government. That is not the right. So read that again. Under the provision 70, under the provisions of the Factories Act 1948, a safety committee is to be constituted. A safety committee, this is a very easy question. Hazardous substances are used or handled. We need a safety committee. So these are all max, quant. Let's leave it. Let's move to the next. So 76. For the 76 question, which of the following is included in the cost of inventory according to the accounting standard inventory valuation? For inventory valuation, the storage costs which are necessary in the production processes prior to a further production stage is included in the cost of inventory. If you could read the cost of inventory, you would be able to answer this. It is easy. So next one, 77. 77, we'll have to find the trial balance of a firm. Additional discount allowed to debtors during is 20,000, and then the discount is equals to 10% of the trade receivables balances. Total amount to be charged to the profit and loss account. So here we'll have to solve it like the amount charged for creation of provision for discount on debtors is 10% on 25,000. 25,000. I'm sorry, 2,50,000 minus 20,000. So it would be 23,000. 10% on this value. And then with the 23,000, you'll have to add the 10,000. So it is 33,000. That would be the answer. Try to solve questions related to this. I'm just trying to finish the session fast. So 78, what is the value of inventory on Jan 21? This is the answer. So the value of inventory would be 10,700, right, to solve it. Here it would be like you'll have to add the, multiply the units, like it would be 1000 into 8 plus 300 into 9. So that would be your answer. It would be 10,700. 79. So following is information relating to a club for the year ending 31/3/2022. Subscription. There are 70 members paying and subscription 1,000. The total subscription received during 2021 to this for the subscription it is again 70 into 1,000 plus 16 minus 18,000 minus 16k minus 18k minus 12k plus 11k. So it would be 67,000. Try to solve problems related to this. The answer would be A. Reporting on fraud is to be made by an auditor to the central government when the sums involved is more than 1 crore. This is also an easy question. You can answer it easily. So 81. Which one of the following is not a security protocol? MIME. MIME is not a security protocol. It is multi-purpose internet mail extension. It is a email protocol. Okay. So other email protocols are SMTP, and everything. Try to read some applications, computer-based applications, and all that for the exam. So LaTeX document does not contain document style article. Try to read on that. Then you have the next question. In a worksheet, which one of the following is not a self-referencing style? See here the options: relative referencing, real-time referencing, absolute referencing, mixed referencing. It would be either A or B. They're trying to confuse us. So it is option B, real-time referencing. So 85. Which one among the following is used to combine several object modules and libraries to a single executable program? They're trying to combine, apply a little bit of your common sense. It would be either compiler or linker. So to a single executable program, it is linker. If you could, if you could have followed the news regularly, it would be helpful. Linker, and also read a little bit on computer applications. For this, I believe SSC based computer questions are more than enough. Yeah. So I will move on to 86. An incandescent bulb rated as 100 watt at 110 volt is connected to a 220 volt power supply. The power that dissipates in the bulb would be, so for 86 we know the Ohm's law. Okay, according to Ohm's law, R is equal to V square by P. Use this formula to solve. The answer would be 400 watts. If the length of a current carrying wire is half for a given potential difference, the current would be, it's a very easy question. The current will obviously double. Again, the crystals of copper sulfyl pentahydrate on heating, it forms a blue color salt. Tartaric acid, we know it is found in tamarind, high in magnesium. Which one of the following is an example of chemical change? Burning of magnesium there, again magnesium. Which one of the following is not a constitutional body? So yeah, National Commission, these are all constitutional bodies. National Human Rights Commission, it is an independent statutory body. When was it established? It was established in 1993, I guess. Yes. So we'll move to the next question. Which of the following are elements of India's Panchamrit on climate change? India will reach its non-fossil energy fuel. Yes, it's right. India will meet 50% of its energy requirements from renewable energy by 2030. Yes, it's both 1 and 2 are the right answers. So certain science and tech-based questions, they will have answers. Mostly both 1 and 2. If you could, if you could go through the question papers, previous year question papers, you can make it out. So 93. What are the prerequisites for declaring any area as a scheduled area under the 5th schedule of the Constitution of India? So the answer would be option B, because check the option for the notification must be issued by the governor of the constituency. It is not true. So 94. The railway budget was separated from general budget owing to option B, separation convention of 1924. That is the answer. So next question 95. Which of the following statements regarding the non-electric cooling cabinet for which the Bureau of Indian Standards has recently developed an Indian standard are correct? It is a natural refrigerator made primarily to store vegetables, fruits, milk, and also for cooling water. It is right. The standard helps in BS in fulfilling. That is also right. It's both 1 and 2. 95 C. 96. Which one of the following facilities are to be provided by the contractor to interstate migrant workers in connection with the work of an establishment to which interstate migrant workmen of employment and conditions of service is applicable? Equal pay? Yes. Provision for suitable residential? Yes. Prevention for? Yes. Old age? No. Prescribed medical facility? Yes. The option would be 1, 2, 3, and 5. So 95. A dispute relating to age of an adolescent employee by an employer which arises due to the absence of any authentic document can be referred to which one of the following authorities for a decision under the Child Adolescent Labor Regulation Act 1986? The answer would be, when it's regarding to age, it is the prescribed medical authority. So let's move on to the next 98. So under the provisions of the Factories Act 1948, which one of the following statements relating to the appointment of the chairman of the site appraisal committee is correct? So here, if you could see the options, the answer would be the chief inspector of the state is the chairman. 99, again, the provision and list. I think we have got another question, so please focus on the acts, what the Factories Act, what does it do, what are the objectives of the act, what are the changes that the act brought, all this, try to read on it. So the displacement allowance would be the Interstate Migrant Workmen Regulation of Employment and Conditions of Service Act. Certifying surgeon would be the Factories Act. Half monthly payment would be the Employees Compensation Act 1923. Piecework would be the Minimum Wages Act. I think again we are trying to decipher what all could be asked. Okay, so if you can see, the piecework was again previously asked in another MCQ, the guaranteed work time, and also the Minimum Wages Act keep repeating, the Factories Act, they also keep repeating. So try to focus on all that. So the next question. Under the provisions of the Industrial Disputes Act 1947, right of the legal representation before a labor court or industrial tribunal or national tribunal is a statutory right. So this is quite pretty straightforward and it's easy. Let's move on to the next. There's a quant. We'll leave the quant. No quant, please. I mean, right now. I'll try to make another video for quant in English. So 106. The beneficiaries under the Integrated Child Development Services Scheme are children in the age group of, it's easy, 0 to 6. If you could read, you can find the answer. This scheme also benefits pregnant and lactating mothers between the age group 15 to 44. Remember that. And also for adolescent girls up to the age of 18. Next, which of the following about truck farming is correct? Growing vegetables around urban centers to meet the daily demand of people is known as truck farming. Yes, it is right. It is governed by the distance a truck can cover overnight between the farm and the market. Yes, it is correct. So they also call truck farming as market gardening. So the option is option C, both 1 and 2. Let's move on to the next 108. Which of the following statements with reference to the service sector is correct? Retail trade falls under tertiary sector. Yes, retail, wholesale, everything comes under tertiary sector. The research and development based activity comes under quaternary activity. Yes, that is also right. So both 1 and 2 would be the answer for 108. So 109. Which of the following statements about the national skill development is not correct? Not correct. Okay. So for the first one, it is a not-for-profit public limited company. I mean, the first one, it is a correct statement. So here they're asking, they're asking not correct, okay, which is not correct. So if you could see, it is a not-for-profit, it is not correct. And it promotes skill development, this is also not correct. So option is option both 1 and C, 1 and 2. Because the National Skill Development Corporation is a not-for-profit limited company incorporated on July 31, okay, 2008, It was set up by the Ministry of Finance as public partnership model. Okay. Which of the following statement with reference to Atal Vayu Abhyuday Yojana is correct? Here it is, they're asking for correct. So it is fulfill basic needs of destitute elderly citizen. Yes, Vayu Abhyuday Yojana. I think you would be knowing this. This was earlier known as National Action Plan for Senior Citizen. National Action Plan for Senior Citizen. Then it was revamped and it was renamed as Atal Vayu Abhyuday Yojana. It comes under the Department of Social Justice and Empowerment. Okay, so here build and strengthen intergeneration relationship through regional resources and training centers. That is also right. Provide guaranteed. See, if there is something like guaranteed, and if they're very strong about it, if you can sense the strong opinion, probably that would be wrong. So three is not. If you could eliminate three is gone. To establish adult incubation centers, no, it is also not right. So the answer is option C. Let's move on to the next. Okay, statement-based questions. In India, central government determines the inflation rate in consultation with the RBI in terms of consumer price. At present, monetary policy framework, this is right. At present, the monetary policy framework in India is operated by a central government. No, it is operated by RBI. So the answer would be C. Statement 1 is right, but 2 is not right. Again, in India, the RTGS and F payment are owned and operated by the National Payment No, is owned by RBI. The National Payment Corporation of India that is right. So the answer would be statement 1 is incorrect, but 2 is right. So again, 3. A very strong US dollar squeezes global credit. Yes. Many countries and companies outside America borrow in dollars. Yes. So 1 and 3 answer is both 1 and 2 are right, and it is a correct explanation. So 1 and 4. The government of India mandates the packaging of 100% sugar and food grades in. Yes, that is right. Because, yeah. Next one. The government of India enacted the Jute Packaging Materials Act 1987. This is also right. Both 1 and 2 are right. Also try to read about the JPM Act, Jute Packaging Materials Act. Okay. Sometimes no. Anyway, it is all quite current affairs based. Next question, 1 on 5. Recently, which one of the following committed up to $25 billion for the next 5 years to fund India's infrastructure creation under the Prime Minister Gati Shakti initiative, as well as social development, climate change, thus aiding India's aspiration for green growth? So the answer would be Asian Development Bank. This actually comes under Prime Minister's Gati Shakti initiative. Okay, as like social development for climate change action and everything, aiding India's aspirations for green growth. So 116 large language models described in use can be used which of the following? Creation of reimagined search engines, yes. Healthcare, yes. Software development, yes. Translating a language, yes. Is 1, 2, and 3 and 4, option D. Okay, let's move on to the next question with reference to the three types of carbon emissions. Here, scope 1 emissions, 2 and 3 are given. So, 1 is direct emissions owned and controlled by the company, 2 would be indirect, 3 would be indirect but also not owned or controlled by it. So, with respect to what I said, the answer would be option B. Only this is right. Emissions as a result of purchase of electricity, steam, or heating. Because for scope 1, it would be like, say, burning of fossil fuels, etc. For scope 3 would be the company's carbon footprint. Okay, because yeah, so this is not the right one. So we'll move on to the next. 1118. Quantified domestic minimum top-up tax is generally talked about in the context of global anti-base erosion rules. Next one, which one of the, so read further about global anti-base erosion rules. What does it do? It is actually designed to address concerns relating to shifting of profits, say from low tax jurisdictions and the erosion of tax base in higher tax jurisdictions. So try to read about that. Then which of the following statements describe the term prowess? So prowess is like a database and it is also used in financial purposes. So it's a database of financial performance of companies that is designed for academia. So the last one, NSE Prime, mentioned in the news sometimes, it denotes a high standard corporate governance initiative. Option A would be the answer.